Hello, this is Margaret Ajibode, the STEM Positive Disruptor, and well, Happy New Year to everyone. This is the first conversation we're having on this platform, and the reason why we have this platform, we want to educate, we want to change people's perception, demystify what STEM is, and raise awareness, because again, we want to be able to bring the public into our domain. We want to start a conversation where the government is concerned, where the industry is concerned, and where the education system is concerned. And today I have a special guest all the way from Malaysia, and her name is Siew Kien Mah. She's the Dean of the Hi. Hi again. She's the Dean of the Faculty of Engineering and Computing. That's the First City University College. And I'm just excited to have on board because she's a STEM advocator. And she's a STEM advocate, and she also, as an educator, means that she wants to bring change into the education system. So it'd be really nice to hear from her and see what she's saying and what are the issues in relation, and how can we improve those issues itself, or how can we make it the best place for young people to study, or even adults. So without further ado, I put the floor onto you, Siew Kien.
Thank you very much, Margaret. First of all, I would like to say a big thank you. I'm really honored to be the first guest to be invited to your podcast.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, a little bit introduction about myself. Okay, I have been an educator for many years. Currently, I'm the Dean of the First City University College. Okay, so all this while I've been very active in many non-profit organizations. For example, the Institution of Engineers Malaysia, National STEM Association, and I've been supporting a lot of smaller scale up to big scale national STEM events, such as the World Engineering Day, STEM Showcase, and so on. Okay, so in recent years, I believe that every country, okay, including Malaysia, there's always this talk about STEM shortage, and the need to encourage students to take mathematics and science subjects. In Malaysia, also here it's no different. But in recent years, I think it's getting worse. It's really getting worse. It's not just female, but also male students. In university level, it's very drastic that the enrollment in engineering and science subjects, for example, computer science, all these courses are dropping, a real significant drop. Okay, so in the science, engineering, and technology scope, okay, maybe computer science is still the most popular one in Malaysia. Maybe because there is this perception that here in Malaysia, when we are in computer science, we work in the air-conditioned office and so on. So probably a little bit different dynamics with UK and other countries. So basically, I've done a lot of activities promoting STEM here and there. But the effect after so many years, I would say that we don't see in the results yet. That is for sure. So probably we should look at how we change the way we do activities. We have a lot of touch and go activities. Touch and go activities means that sometimes there's competitions, there are carnivals, there are workshops going to school to do. But at the end of the day, okay, or at the end of the year, when they are selecting the courses, it just doesn't translate into the numbers. So I guess that's the main problem.
But why is that? Because it's quite interesting that you've tried different initiatives, different events like the stop and go, but it's not translating to that tangible intake of people or young people taking on the STEM world itself. But why is that? Because if we are doing all these initiatives, and that's not just in Malaysia, but across the world, we are still struggling with getting more young people to even consider STEM subjects, but we're struggling because we have all these initiatives. Sometimes you have that initial inflow of people, of young people taking on, and then it sort of filters down. Why? What is it we're missing? There seems to be something missing. Why is that?
I believe it's very important from the young, probably the education in the primary and secondary, the need of the we to, how to put it, to make this okay, to make to put it in an easier way, to make the science and mathematics they don't look difficult. I believe that is very important. The perception that is very difficult, and especially engineering is very hard. So because this year and these few years, for us, the numbers are really significantly dropping, and actually is alarming. It's considered,
Wow.
yeah. Especially in the universities, you can see that engineering students, it's more than some of us experience more than 50% drop. Okay, so
wow.
Yeah, it's a lot. Especially there are certain engineerings, like for example, civil engineering, mechanical, probably still better. But for example, the electronics, those things that involve is signals, that the way that we can't see it, probably the perception that is difficult. So I believe that it's very important. Because the secondary and primary school teachers are actually the one that who will always see the children. So I believe the education part is that we need to make maths fun, science fun, and we really have to look at more innovative ways, more application ways to do that. And for example, I always supported the Women in Science program. It's actually a program under Tekton Penang, which is under the Penang state government, one of the state in Malaysia, to actually promote gender diversity, and also to promote STEM in girls. So it's actually a very significant event every year. So last year we did a bit differently. Previously, what we did is that we have one whole day of activities with keynote speakers and workshop activities and competitions, and at the end of the day, it was a great event, such things. Okay, but last year what we tried for the first time is that from April until November, every month, right, the organizations who came in, we have industries also, such as Intel, such as Witron, and we as a NGO, we went in. So what we do is every month we will all the organizations, all of us adopted a few schools under us. Okay, the girls has to be female. The trainer has to be female. Okay. That's the requirement being put by the organizer. Okay, and then the students are the selected ones that is actually on in our level called Form 3. Form 3 means that Form 4, that once they go to Form 4, they will select to major whether in science stream or art stream. So what we did was every month that we conducted a 2-hour workshop for them. So we hope that this consistent kind of engagement from the industries to the secondary school students itself will actually encourage them, so to let them know their careers in STEM jobs. But actually during the 2 hours over the months, what we do is, like for example, first month we try to teach, we have the focus like biology, then physics. So our perspective is that we came in and gave them introduction and workshops related to physics, for example, and application part. Okay, so for this one, the results we are yet to know. It will be until maybe our Chinese New Year here by February. Then the students will select the streams. So clearly, at that time I can update you whether it will be successful. So that's one way we try to measure our impact. But it takes a bit of effort because we need to commit every month.
But exactly, and I think that's the key element, is commitment. It's the momentum, is to get it going. But just going back slightly, because you made a good point as well, that even with all the initiatives that are going, and this is a new initiative, from what I understand, but even with the initiatives already going, that has me, we're still struggling getting young people to take on some STEM studies, because some are okay, like you talk about electronics, where stigmas are concerned, but also about how do we make maths, how do we make science fun, how do we change young people's business, how do we change that? Because do we need to change the way we teach maths? Do we need to change the way we teach STEM subjects in school? I don't know, because we need to have a solution. It's okay for us to try and promote or do as many initiatives, but at the end of the day, we're still having that shortfall. And in the industry is saying, well, we have a skill shortage, we cannot fill this gap, blah, 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 blah. So we complain about the same thing. So what is it we are missing? Why can't we bridge that gap from, you talk about from the secondary school, where, and Form 3, where they are given these options and see how they, a taster, if that's what you want to call it. And in Form 4, they make a choice. But if it's not translating into tangible results of uptake, then something's wrong. So how do we address that?
That is a very difficult question. Yeah. Okay. So I think we do not have the. We are still trying many ways. Okay. So one way is that, of course, currently we do a lot of even the teachers also. There are a lot of trainings that try to relate with nature. So we actually try to teach science and maths in a very creative way.
Mm-hmm.
There are also a lot of robotics games to play about.
Yeah.
And of course, another point is also the parents' encouragement. I believe that's very important.
So important, yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm not so sure about UK and other countries, but in Malaysia, currently there's this perception that, you know, as a developing country, there are also many news that sometimes they put, especially after MCO, when you are a Grab driver, you earn so many thousand per month. I mean, compared to a fresh graduate. So, I mean, all these kind of news, I believe the younger generation also prefer instant gratification. They want things to move faster, better. Yeah, so I think all of these things just come together and somehow affects the attractiveness of the STEM subjects. So the industry also is very important. I believe the industry should also come in and tell them, for example, electronics, if the students are in the IC design, actually the starting pay is very, very high. But there are also a lot of news here, like the STEM subjects are difficult. You will have to like slot for long hours when you first start the career, and so on. I mean, these things does affect the perception, and also I believe the parents are also very important. To actually encourage their children. Yeah.
So how do we get the parents to buy into the idea? Because in a way, once upon a time, if you were an engineer or a scientist or a doctor, or you followed that path, you were highly respected. But now, because of the different options that are available to young people in general, and also because the internet means that everyone is so close together, means that they can see the different options. And of course, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be rich. There's nothing wrong to want to have that quick fix of money. That's not. But then again, engineering is fun. STEM subjects are fun if you can find the right environment to flourish. But and then what would you say? How do we get our parents? Because you made a point about starting from secondary school, even primary school. We need to start from. How do we? Because we need to start from a young age. The government has to be involved. They have to, I don't know, introduce some policy or invest or plow some money into the education system from a young age. You talk about creativity. So how, tell me, because it's not just in Malaysia, it's across the world. Everyone has some issue where STEM is concerned, but the industry is complaining about not having enough, the skill set is not there. We don't have the people to fill in those gaps. But then again, instead of us complaining about it, how can we be proactive? how can we look beyond what we see and change the perception, raise awareness and bring it into play from a young age? What do you think would be the best way to do that?
Okay, from the government side, from 2018, there's already the National Science Week, a grand scale promotion to schools. The support is definitely there. We can see. So the support to the school, to the students, for the outsiders to go and conduct workshop, for NGOs to come in and have discussions, stakeholders discussion. That's definitely the ecosystem is set up. Okay. I think that now what we need more is actually the industries also plays a role when we do the activities, go to the school, maybe the primary school or maybe the secondary school, at least rather than, I mean, yes, they always complain that they really need the engineers. How come you only produce so many? Where are your graduates? Right? I interview also, I receive how many only resume from your university. I mean, that's what they complain about also. Okay. The thing is, I think that it's very important for the industries also to go into the schools, especially preferably from the primary level, so that they can tell the children and also the parents also to know that there are these career jobs, the prospects are actually good. And also I believe that what you do is actually amazing, because like for example, engineering, all these scientists, they are very good at their technical expertise, but one day is they are one difference is they are not always at the forefront, you know. They are supporting at the back, right? For example, the race car, the Ferrari, right, car. So whoever won the race, everybody will clap and cheer for the driver. But actually, the driver can't really win the race unless the car is being built to speed at, I don't know, 300, 400 kilometers per hour. And there are so many scientists, engineers involved. So I think that this kind of the glamorization of the certain professions already covered up the STEM professions. Those working out at the back also should step up, and so that the children will know, they can see that these people exist. If we look at the dramas here, sometimes in Malaysia, Asian country, we have this Korean fever shows, and then when we watch the shows also, you can see that there is always lawyers, always doctors, and then there are always many profession actors, but seldom you will see engineer engineer as the main protagonist. Okay, I believe that's important.
You know, you're right, and I think that's so important. We don't have those in the STEM world that are working behind the scenes coming to the forefront. We do all the hard work behind the scene, but we don't see them. So people's perception, how they only see the lawyers or the doctors or the people that they are familiar. So we are not as familiar in the forefront, and we need to change that and bring us to the forefront. And I think also, for example, you talked about the Formula car, the racing, and it's, you know, it's so important. And I think this is why I like Lewis Hamilton, because one of the things he does, whenever he talks about when he wins an event, he talks about the engineers behind the scene that are supporting him to achieve that goal. He said without the engineers, he wouldn't have achieved that, because the car has to work, has to perform to that level that allows him to utilize his skill, his driving skill, to get him to the to that winning pole. And that's so important. I think you know, that means we need to, in a way, we need to bring ourselves to the forefront. We need to use that and raise our profile, because the only way children, the way we look, I think as people in general, what we do, we are very visual. We see things, and that's how we stimulate information. But when you talk about it, it doesn't have the same effect, and we need to change that. So, you know, I thank you for that, because I do love what you do. And I also know that, I mean, if I'm going back to what you do, because you're a judge where the AI robotics are concerned. And that also is, again, promoting STEM, because, again, you're judging, you get young people to actually provide or create something that you judge and do that as well. And I think that's also very important because we all have a role to play. And unless we play our role effectively, unless we showcase that, we're always going to be struggling or be at the back end. And you made a good point about industry going to school at a young age, getting the parents involved as well, but also showcasing the value add of, so you talk about wages, salary, that look, you can't earn this amount of money, but of course there's work behind it. But even those influencers, so they call, they're using people's STEM skills to showcase that, isn't it? The back end people. So we need to bring them out to the forefront. So that is so true. So if in a big world, in your world, in your vision, because you're an advocate, a STEM advocate, and you are an educator, and you've had that experience, you know what's going on, and you've been recognized for what you do, because you were recently made a honorary member of the AFEO Asian, and that, to me, that's wonderful, because you can showcase your ability and people are recognizing that. So if you were to be just putting yourself in the parents, in the children's, because we all been children once upon a time, we're not older, but parents, how can we, what would you recommend? Because it's about us changing. We don't want to complain about what does not work, or we can, but we don't want to continue to complain about it. So what would you say would be your 5, or any, doesn't matter, number, changes, sustainable changes that will speak to not the public in general, because the platform is set up to get the public into our domain, to showcase what we do, but also show what we're doing to change that, but also to raise our profile. So we have role models, and we have people like educators like yourself who's trying to make those difference within the education system. You have advocates like you, STEM advocates like yourself, that are promoting what STEM is all about, and finding different ways, initiatives that are enable and bringing people up, especially young girls, because you mentioned about this new initiative, making sure that they you have a school, a female on all cross, so you have to have the criteria, and that is so important because we need that. But it's about the momentum, changing it from just initiatives to tangible results that will showcase that we are projecting for the future, and we can meet the needs of the industry, because these young people coming up, but they need to meet the industry's needs. But the industry has to come back and find a way to bring that synergy together. So based on your experience, based on being what you are and who you are, what would you say is a way forward? Just any recommendations that you feel will work?
Okay. You see, children are always children, right? No matter long time ago and now. Why only now they don't like maths, right? Long time ago, we all love maths, okay? So I believe this perception of difficult, whatever, okay, with the right way, we can change it. So especially in the social media, the way we promote STEMs, okay, we really need to do more so that, and showcase our activities with the applications, with the industry support, and the activities, the initiative needs to be we need to keep going on. But we are changing into, like, for example, nowadays we are trying to put in more application type of STEM initiative and activities and robotics from small. So that means from primary school, we encourage them to go for competitions. And the idea of the competition is not for winning. Actually, it's just the journey, just to let them have fun and to be happy. So we will continue these efforts. But I believe also the social media, okay, it's time for the STEM advocates and educators to actually publicize our activity, showcase the importance of STEMs. Whenever we done some video, some good achievements, invent something, we take some even small TikTok videos, Instagram videos, and actually publicize it. Because the way I see it is, children is always children. Okay, long time ago, the children they didn't think that the maths and science is difficult. Why now then suddenly all of them think that it's difficult? I mean, to them, actually it's the same. It's just the perception that we have built in. Or maybe yeah, there are a few who actually, or previously when we try to encourage children, we always say that sometimes from our older parents, especially Asian, you have to study very hard, you have to work. So probably that the maths is to become an engineer is difficult. Actually it is not, you know. That is this kind of you are so happy when you finally find the solution. We are actually problem solvers. So what I would like to encourage is that there are so many of us doing so many different things. Maybe all these STEM advocates can actually collaborate together, and we share ideas. Platforms like this are very important, and I believe it's just try and error also. We can try and see the results, right? Maybe some ideas we will always get a better result because the generation is always changing. They are evolving, and also there are so many things that are changing, especially the social media, whatever. So it's too fast. So probably the way that all of us we need to, maybe, how to put it that way, to be more keep in touch with how the young generation think.
So true,
because sometimes
so true.
the way that we encourage also might be, the message might not be received. So I think that more the activities what we do, the robotics building, that actually is perfect. Those activities are already very, very good, those initiative and whatever. And the industry definitely needs STEM professionals, and actually they have a good job career path. So the thing is still that children is children, so we need to do something to
you know, you made a good point. I think again it's bad because everything is evolving all the time. Children are still children. There's that constancy of children being the same. And I think even when we were children, we also had some misgivings. But I think maybe we as engineers, we as STEM professionals, or the way we talk about STEM, have made it more complicated than we should have made it complicated. And I think, you know, you made a good point about making it relevant to our young people. That means using the tools that they use to bring it to them. So like TikTok, you made a good point. So it's about using the social media to make it showcase how fun it can be, and changing the way we see things, and also getting parents involved, getting the industry involved from a very young age. So when we change perception, that means the whole scheme of things will change. And, you know, keeping the momentum going is ever so important as well. Being creative, how we teach STEM subjects as well, is important as well. And, you know, I seriously, Siew Kien, I love what you do. I love your passion. I love you being who you are and being an advocate. And I applaud you. I celebrate what you've done. I celebrate the work you're doing behind the scenes to make that difference. And we need more people like yourselves to make that difference in our world, so that the STEM world could be more, I don't know, bring more the public into our domain, make it more inclusive and diverse, and showcase what we do. So again, I just want to say thank you so much. I am grateful that you can come on board and have this conversation and be my first guest in the year 2023. So I'm really thrilled. And, you know, it makes quite good sense because, you know, our government is saying that they want our young people to learn maths went up to 18 years old. I'm not sure how that will work, but unless it's creative, you're going to scare them away even worse than you thought. So we have to find a creative way to make it more fun, make STEM as a whole more fun, so that they can then embrace it, and they will be the future that brings heals the gap, the bridge between the industry and the education system. So again, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you. And I know it's quite late there, so it's cooler in Malaysia.
It's at night here in Malaysia now. Thank you very much for having me, Margaret. I'm so humbled. to be
I'm humbled. I'm grateful because you're amazing. I love what you're doing. I love your passion. I seriously, we need so many more people like yourself that are change agents in our world, in our STEM world, because that's what we want, to make that difference, because you see the greater good and how it will bring more young people, or more people in general, into the industry itself. So again, thank you so much. Well,